The Pacific Ocean has a sense of humor. It's just very, very slow. 1878. Peak whaling season. The industry had already killed so many sperm whales that the price of oil was dropping and captains were getting desperate. Desperate men do desperate things. They went looking for the last big scores in the far western grounds, places no one had bothered to map properly because, well, why would you? The sea was big. The sea was empty. The sea was supposed to stay that way. The Essex II was a tidy little vessel, 87 feet, 238 tons, built in the Matthew Luce Yard in 1869. She carried 22 men who still believed the food chain had a top. They were wrong. July 29th, roughly 35 south, 125 west. A patch of ocean so far from anywhere that even the albatross looked tired. The lookout sings out the magic words every whaleman lives for. There, she blows. Except this time, the blow came from something that had been waiting a very long time for a second helping. What happened next took less than 12 minutes. We know the exact duration because the ship's chronometer was recovered from the whaleboat still ticking, stopped at 11:47 a.m. The whaleboat itself was found 73 days later, 2,800 miles to the east. Distance rowed under jury-rigged sail by one man who no longer had a tongue. Impressive, if you like that sort of thing. Elias Carter, second mate, 24 years old, weighed 91 pounds when the British bark Strathmore picked him up. His medical file at Massachusetts General is one of the shortest on record. Patient unable to speak. Refuses food. Stares at blank walls. Died September 9th, 1879. The only addition, scribbled in the margin by a night nurse, still staring. Before they took his charcoal away, Carter managed to write 9 words more than 200 times across the asylum walls, floor, and ceiling. Teeth, top and bottom. Knew my name. The U.S. Revenue Marine Service reacted with admirable efficiency. Within 6 weeks, every trace of the Essex II had been surgically removed from existence. 43 toggle irons, 43 chances to prove something impossible had happened, disappeared into the New Bedford Iron Foundry. 3 church bells were poured from the melt. They still hang in St. Mary's, Fairhaven. The middle bell is the one that rings half a tone flat. Locals say it only does it when the wind comes from the southwest, the direction of the offshore ground. They're not wrong. The sail fragment, 41 by 27 centimeters, was catalogued, photographed, then quietly filed under miscellaneous debris. No evidentiary value. That file was last seen in 1904. Tonight it is fluttering gently between the lower left canine and the second premolar of a 20-meter predator that, according to every textbook, went extinct 9 million years ago. The species was formally christened Livyatan Melvillei in 2010, after a skull the size of a delivery van was pulled from the Peruvian desert. The paper was published in Nature. The press release called it the most terrifying predator since Tyrannosaurus. The comments section called it clickbait. Both were right. 11 diagnostic skulls exist worldwide. 0 complete lower jaws. 0 living specimens. 0 reason anyone should ever have built a tank 210 meters long. Yet, here we are. 567 million liters of real Pacific water, chilled to 9.2 degrees Celsius, 35 parts per thousand salinity, exact match for the sea surface the day Elias Carter was found. The glass is 15 meters thick, laminated aluminosilicate, the same material used in submarine observation spheres. It cost more than the annual defense budget of a small nation. It is already sweating from the inside. 41 hours ago, the tank was empty. Then, the lights came on by themselves. Then the water temperature dropped 0.8 degrees in 6 seconds. Then something that massed 57 tons rose from the bottom without making a ripple. 4 toggle irons. New Bedford 1878 pattern. still embedded exactly where they were fired. No bone remodeling, no healing. The wounds are fresh. The debt is still outstanding. The sail fragment has not faded. The letters ESSEX are crisp under ultraviolet light, as if the cloth was cut yesterday. The rope is manila hemp, tarred, hand-braided by men who thought they were hunting, not being hunted. Heart rate, 8 beats per minute. Respiration, 1 breath every 43 minutes and 11 seconds. Like clockwork from the Miocene. Each exhalation hits the glass at 112 decibels. That is the sound a 12 gauge makes 3 meters from your ear. The glass does not complain. Yet, the last ship to record this exact acoustic signature was the USS Stein, 1978. Same redacted coordinates. She limped home with a gash in her sonar dome, big enough to park a car in. The Navy blamed unknown biological interaction. They weren't wrong either. Elias Carter died staring at a point 6 meters beyond a plaster wall. Tonight that point is 6 meters beyond 15 meters of armored glass. The animal has not blinked in 39 hours and 52 minutes. We told ourselves this was science. We told ourselves it was closure. We told ourselves a lot of comforting stories while we poured the water and fed the machines, the ashes of forbidden files. The machines did not argue. They simply remembered what humanity paid good money to forget. And now the glass is beginning to remember what it feels like to be water again. Funny how history works. You can burn the logs. You can melt the iron. You can lock the only witness in an asylum and let him rot. But the ocean has a longer memory than the land. And it charges interest.